Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. Sorry we're a few minutes late, and you'll notice that I'm a little sunburned from Memorial Day standing out in the sun. I forgot to wear a hat. Today it's going to be up in the 90s again. It'll be about 90, 91. So later on in the afternoon, we probably will have some isolated thunderstorms. Get ready though for the weekend. It's going to be a lot cooler over the weekend. It'll be 68 tomorrow and about 73 on Sunday. Now, as far as today goes, the Department of Environmental Protection has issued an ozone warning today for Long Island, New York City metro area, and Western New York. The problem is the wildfires that happened up in Canada last week. The smoke has been coming down onto the East Coast and the metro New York area. So the recommendations for today is to use mass transit or carpool and don't drive with just one person. Conserve fuel to reduce exhaust emissions. Turn off lights and electrical appliances when not used in unoccupied areas. Use a fan or lower your air conditioner thermostat to 78 degrees. I have a fan here blowing on me because my air conditioner, I have to get a new one, makes noise. But they also say to close blinds and shades to limit heat buildup and preserve cool air, to limit the use of household appliances until off-peak hours, which is after 7 o'clock. Set refrigerators and freezers to most efficient temperatures. Purchase and install energy-efficient lighting and Energy Star appliances. And to reduce or eliminate outdoor burnings, meaning don't have any barbecues because that's going to bring more smoke into the area. And to call 1-800-535-1345. That's 1-800-535-1345 for the latest air quality issues. Now, as far as issues go, Joe Biden was at a recent graduation where he gave a keynote speech, but coming back to his seat, he had a little problem. He fell down. Now, is Joe Biden a little too old to be president? Well, let's see what happens during the campaign. We saw what happened to Hillary Clinton during the campaign. She also had a fall. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. And hopefully Joe Biden is okay. There's nothing wrong with him. The big talk, though, appears to be the bipartisan bill on fiscal responsibility, the Fiscal Responsibility Act that was passed by Congress and the state Senate and is awaiting Joe Biden's signature unless he has signed it already. It is to suspend the debt ceiling and curb federal spending. The bill, which Congress also approved into law to avert an unprecedented U.S. government default. One funny thing, though, about this is we see that George Santos and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have been fighting. They've been going at each other. But on this bill, both voted together the same way against the bill. Now, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez says she voted against the bill because said House Republicans hurt the hungry, our climate, and student loan borrowing while refusing to reduce any of the Trump-Bush tax cuts, which she says has cost $10 trillion, which included tax breaks on private jets and yachts, that they got more paperwork. And the results now is that there is more paperwork required for anti-poverty programs, fewer environmental protections, and student loans will have to be repaid now because the new bill eliminates that. And it can be Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's comments can be found on my blog at 100percentbronx.blogspot.com, as well as many other things. When we go into development, we're having an interesting thing happen. Most people were moving out to the west to states like Arizona, but Arizona has now found out that there is not enough groundwater to supply all of the housing construction that is going on in Phoenix. And what they're trying to do now is they're trying to put a cap on housing because there's not enough groundwater there. Moving on to New York State. The state legislature still has 3 days left, and they have a couple of items to take care of, like the clean slate sealing of criminal records. That should pass, but the state Senate, Assembly, and Governor cannot agree on the details of the bill. is the technicalities of how much time would be needed to seal a person's record as to any time spent in jail or prison. There's recommendations that 3 years post-sentence for misdemeanors and 7 years post-sentence for felonies, provided the person stays out of trouble for that period of time. They also want to reduce the parole, if possible, for older prisoners, so they won't have to languish in prison, that they can go out and be back in society. There's also some of the people are trying to get changes to the New York State campaign finance law, which they want to put into effect, which is similar to the New York City campaign finance law. But at the state level, some people are trying to dilute the influence of major donors, which would make higher donation limits eligible for matching funds. So that's New York State. Now, New York City Controller Brad Lander, his latest dashboard of the Department of Corrections, which can be found on my blog, has the Rikers Island population as of May 1st at 6,024 people, or I should say incarcerated people, which is up 73 from the previous month. There were 53 assaults on the staff in April of 2023, which is up 6 from March of 2023. 19 slashings or stabbings as of April 2023, which is up 13 from March. The number of deaths in custody, well, we know that there were 2 recently, but as far as that, the Department of Corrections has it listed as unknown. So that is what's happening in the, oh, pardon me, I forgot the number of individuals with serious mental illness is still just under 20%, or 1 in 5 people currently incarcerated in Rikers Island. The average length of stay in Rikers Island in April 23 was 98 days, down from 109 days in March of 2023. The controller's dashboard, as I said, is on my blog, and you can see it and also the Department of Corrections has stopped publishing the deaths of individuals in custody. Mayor Adams is standing by his Department of Corrections commissioner because the listings of jail deaths were put in place under Mayor Bill de Blasio. Mayor Eric Adams now has over $1 million in his campaign reelection finance summary, and he is holding a Broadway fundraiser at the New York, pardon me, let me get this straight. It's on Friday, June 16th. The show is New York, New York at the St. James Theater, and seats are $2,100 for priority seating, $1,500 for mezzanine seating, and $1,000 for balcony seating. And it's funny because the theater itself is selling the balcony seats for as little as $50 or less. So if you want to see Mayor Adams for a night, you're going to have to pay $950 more. Also with Mayor Adams, he is cutting $12 million from the Department for the Aging budget. That is the Meals on Wheels program, which home delivers meals for seniors that are homebound, while the City Council is asking for an additional $101 million to fund the Department of Aging in 2024. So while the state has done its budget, the city has to get its budget done by July 1st, because that's when the city fiscal year starts. So they have less than a month to get the act together, and it looks like both sides are so much apart, and hopefully by July 1st, they'll be right on target. As far as the immigration problem here, 500 cots and trailers are being used to, the trailers are being used for showers and bathrooms to set up in a vacant Kennedy Airport hangar to house immigrants or migrants. The city is looking for any and all available space to house the influx of migrants the city is having, which is a problem that they're having to take care of. Several counties upstate and on Long Island have gone to court to block any New York City buses from coming. Albany County has already received 4 busloads of immigrants from New York City, as well as immigrants are being housed in the Tuckahoe Road Motel in Yonkers, and they're going to be anywhere they can be. So look for new immigrants coming into your local neighborhood. As far as the Bronx beat, Memorial Day, as I said, I'm sunburned from Memorial Day. I went to 3 events on Memorial Day. Peace Plaza at the corner of Pelham Parkway and Williamsbridge Road. It was a beautiful ceremony that is located in Community Board 11, and it was nice to see some of the recently appointed last year community board members attending. Okay, so, and they are not veterans, but they were there to show their support for the veterans of the area. There was also a Van Ness Memorial Day celebration, and the big one here in the Bronx was on City Island. And no, I'm not forgetting the Throgs Neck or the Edgewater Park Memorial Day celebrations. They were the day before. City Island, though, people marched from one end of City Island to the other end. They stopped at Hawkins Park to lay some reefs. Then they went to the Pelham Cemetery to lay some more reefs, up to the memorial by the bridge, and then to the veteran VFW post where everybody who was there received food and refreshments. Yesterday, Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson raised the Bronx Pride flag as June 1st started Pride Month. In 2019, there was a whole month load of events culminating with the Bronx Pride Parade, which was on 149th Street. Then COVID set in, and all of the events were stopped. Basically, last year, Borough President Gibson had a small ceremony which raised the flag. This year, it was a much bigger ceremony where she had 5 awards that were given out to people in the LGBTQIA+ community. One was Tabitha Gonzalez, who was the New York City Commissioner of Human Rights, Ms. Sandra Perez, the Executive Director of New York City Pride, Tony German, who is a storyteller, creator, podcaster, and marketing guru. There was a youth honoree, Annalie Santana, who is a junior at Manhattan College, and she will be graduating in class of 2024. Also, Dr. Viraj Patel, who is at Montefiore Einstein, received an award. He also received the John Wade Award for his help in the LGBTQI+ community. Reverend Carmen Hernandez gave the invocation and benediction, and there was a tremendous, or I should say, the master of ceremonies for the event was Tim Moss, and he did a performance towards the end of the show that was terrific. So I want to give kudos to the Borough President Vanessa Gibson, but we'll see how long that lasts, because community board notices are going out, and while some people have received their acceptances already, I am awaiting to find out if I've been put on Community Board 11 or I've been passed over again with all my experience and my mentoring some of the new members of Community Board 11. So I will hold till next week my comments on that, my appointment or non-appointment to Community Board 11, since I haven't received the email or letter from the Borough President's office. But, we're going to take a break right here. I'm going to go to commercial. I'm going to come back with my guest, Ms. Renata Rafi, who was the former head of Mothers of 1900 Seminole, and she's going to tell us what happened to the group. So let's go to commercial.
Do you wish your business makes it to the top list of the most searched for business in the US and around the world? Or are you searching for halal compliant services and products online? Then Halal Finder is your online resource directory, pointing you to the right places and products. Let's help you explore halal products and services of your choice as we manage many halal businesses across the world. Promote your business with halalfinder.com, the only plug you need to grow. Our services include business listing, digital marketing, branding strategy, SEO campaigns, crowdfunding, and humanitarian support. On our Compassion Corner, we offer crowdfunding of halal ventures and humanitarian services. In this section, you can make or receive donations, start donation campaign, and check existing donation campaigns. And by paying zakat and sadaqah to our Compassion platform on halalfinder.com, you have supported the poor, widows or widowers, orphans, and the likes around the world. Contact us at info@halalfinder.com or call +1 718 822 5555. Get started today at halalfinder.com.
Okay, welcome back to the show. My guest is Ms. Renata Rafi, and it is a pleasure to have you on the show again. I understand that there is a new community organization that came from the ashes of 1900 Seminole Avenue. So, Ms. Raffi, would you please tell us about your new organization? Are you there, Renata? Okay, I see she isn't. Go ahead. Tell me all about this new, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I see she's driving. Can you, Mr. Producer, can we help her? That's not working right now. So I can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Try logging on again and coming back. Well, let me just give a little information about that. With the old 1900 Seminole, Mothers Against 1900 Seminole, has really been dissolved. There is one person who is running for city council who is using the name, and she has only a couple of members from the original group. Yes, I know Malcolm Gray, and Malcolm Gray is just reminding me that CB11 has put up its first pride flag yesterday that is in the window of the community board office on Morris Park Avenue. But let me get back to the new community organization, the Indian Village Alliance, which is mostly all of the members of the former group Mothers Against 1900 Seminole Avenue. Hopefully we have Ms. Raffi back. Are you back with us? I still can't hear you. We're still having problems with hearing you, Renata. We can't hear you. Renata, why don't you call into my phone and I'll put you through next to the speaker. How's that? We'll try that. Like I did with one of my friends, Mr. Jose Padilla, where we put him through and he spoke on the speaker. Okay, so as I was saying, there is a political candidate running for office claiming that she has mothers in 1900 Seminole Avenue. The group is actually defunct now. She just kept the Facebook page and is using it for her political campaign for city council. Now, until Renata comes back, I'm going to mention a little bit more about the city council candidates because I've just seen, and this is the first time in about 25 years that there is a Republican primary for this 13th city council district. Candidate Samantha Zerka has launched an attack ad on one of her opponents, the front runner, Ms. Christy Maramato, only attacking her family. Candidate Zerka herself has no platform. She has listed nothing that she has done. She has listed nothing that she wants to do. And let's see if we have Ms.
Hello?
Now we have you on sound. All right.
Okay,
I was just talking a little bit about the 13th council district and Samantha Zerka's attack ad on Christy Maramato, who I know is one of your friends, and she's a member of our new Indian Village Alliance and former member of Mothers of 1900 Seminole Avenue. I was explaining that organization is basically defunct right now, so
Yes.
You want to continue.
Yeah, so we decided to get a new organization called the Indian Village Alliance. That's our Facebook name. You can look us up. Again, it's called the Indian Village Alliance. And we are the former people who started the Mothers Against 1900. We decided to split away from Irene based on the fact that she was going in a different direction than what the group wanted. It seemed like she had more of a political agenda for the group as opposed to where we are just a bunch of citizens who came together to try to fight a project.
Correct. And we do have a city council candidate in our group who really has not used the group as a platform. So
has never used the group as a platform to push her own political agenda. And with Christy, she's not a politician. She's never ran for office, as opposed to Irene and other people who have been running for office over and over again.
Also, the Health and Hospitals Corporation months ago, about 6 months ago, has agreed to use the address 1400 Pelham Parkway for the building, and basically has, just thrown away the name 1900 Seminole. So it really doesn't exist anymore. So if anybody's telling you to come to a rally 1900 Seminole Avenue, don't believe it, because Ms. Estrada, in her last two attempts at rallies, said that hundreds of children will be coming from all the schools. And what happened? One mother showed up with two children. And there were less than 25 people there, which included Curtis Lewa, who was endorsing a Democrat and a Republican in this race, which I can't understand because he was the Republican candidate for mayor. So why would he endorse a Democrat in this race, Ms. Irene Estrada? And also the other candidate that he's endorsing, Mr. George Havarack. I thought he was well experienced on Community Board 10, but I found out he was only there for 2 years.
Yes.
His latest ad is that he led the fight against overdevelopment. He was basically on Community Board 10 for 2 years. He was put on in October of 2020, and was not reappointed by the current city councilwoman, Marjorie Velazquez, who only left. She was also on Community Board 10 while George was there. And she was, she started as a city councilwoman January 1st, 2022. So she really had a look at how George was on the board. And basically, I would say that's the reason that Marjorie Velazquez didn't reappoint George Havarack, because in looking at the minutes, he only attended 4 live meetings and was on it during COVID and really wasn't a factor on Community Board 10. His latest ad also says, let's keep dangerous criminals off the streets. He'll battle for seniors and veterans. Let's stop the pop-up smoke shops. He's in favor of schools of choice and charter schools. But I take offense to that last comment. He's in favor of charter schools, schools of choice. Mentions nothing about the public schools. Bronx public schools are the worst in the city. They were performing at 67% before the pandemic, and they must be performing at lower than that. So I want a candidate who says that they're going to do something to improve the public schools as well as bring more choice to the community in charter schools and private schools, because charter schools are really basically the old parochial schools. I'm sure you remember the parochial schools. And throughout the Bronx, the Archdiocese has closed school after school after school in almost every neighborhood. And anything else you would like to say, Ms. Raffi?
No, I just hope that you'll come out and support our new Facebook. It's called the Indian Village Alliance, and we hope to rebuild the group and to stop the project at 1900. The group is also going to be used to do the MTA upzoning to stop it as well. So we have a lot of projects that we want to do and to redevelop the area, and also to give Morris Park its glory, to bring back community events. And, I want to give a shout out to John Zaccaro, who's having the first family event in front of his office. And I think that's a great start. And I hope to find more politicians that will support our cause to bring back Morris Park and to stop the Just Homes project.
Right. And that project, the Health and Hospitals Corporation had a meeting, which I said almost all of our members of the Indian Village Alliance spoke. And I feel that the way we can beat that is fair share, because the closing of Rikers meant that they had to bring all the prisoners into the boroughs. And to be fair, they had to build borough jails. Now, what they're trying to do with all of these supposedly sick or immune or mentally or compromised prisoners from the infirmary, of which we don't really know the number is, they want to put them in 2 Bronx hospitals only. They already set up North Central Bronx, and they want to put the other part of the program into Jacoby Hospital, which is just home. Now, that's not fair, putting all of the incarcerated people from Jacoby Hospital, from Rikers Island into 2 Bronx hospitals. They have to really fair share the idea and put some of these people into other boroughs like Queens, Manhattan, and Brooklyn. Okay, so it's not fair to put all of the mentally incapacitated people or medically incapacitated people, as they say, pardon me, because as I said before, 1 out of 5 people in Rikers Island has a mental problem. So you're going to have these people walking around in the community. So there's going to be a little problem with safety. There's not going to, go ahead.
And I also think that you touched upon a very important subject, that our politicians are allowing this to happen, that they're just allowing these prisoners to be dumped here in the Bronx and not fighting to have fair share. And that's a problem. They're
incarcerated people, not
incarcerated.
84% are awaiting trial. And in a 2012
trial detainees.
In a 2012 study by the Department of Corrections, The average age of the person inside Rikers Island was 35 years old. So don't tell us that you're putting old people there that are 65 to 70 years
Correct.
old. Okay, I want to touch on one more subject before we go while we have time. Community Board 11 had a meeting of their full board, of which only 21 members attended. The board right now is at 33 members because one was not reappointed. There are 17 vacancies. The board can go up to 50 members. But they had a meeting where the chair of the board notified the office like a half hour or so before the meeting that she wasn't attending. I understand that she was filming commercials. I don't know if that was the reason or not, but she's running for city council. Bernadette Ferrara, who has really used that board as a platform for her campaign for city council. But the board at its economic committee meeting was supposed to hear from the proprietors of a new cannabis store on Williamsbridge Road. They did not show up for one reason or another. It said that the board did not have any information to contact the people, but accordingly, if he's applying for the license, he knows the rules. He said he has to go before the community board, so he should have contacted the community board. But during their meeting, they halted their meeting when they got to the resolution, and they listened to this man who convinced the majority of the 21 members, which vote was 12-4 for killing the resolution that was opposing this cannabis store, 8 that were for the resolution, and 1 person who abstained. What is your opinion about the cannabis store coming to Williamsbridge Road? And it's right across the street from the school, and it's right across the street from the Warring Avenue housing, NYCHA houses. What is your opinion?
I feel that my opinion is that cannabis has been legalized, but it should also fall under the same rules and regulations as it does under a liquor license, such as the fact that they shouldn't be located so close to a school, they shouldn't be saturated in one area, and the wrapping for the cannabis products should not be able to attract smaller children. There should be an age restriction on them, just like for alcohol. If we have moved into the time where cannabis is legal, then it should be treated like alcohol, a controlled substance.
Well, the problem that some people in the neighborhood see is that people are going to be there, and this cannabis is not going to be cheap, so they'll be carrying a lot of money, or when they leave, they'll be have their cannabis in their hands. And looks like, nope, there you are. So there's a possibility of more crime in the community, of people being robbed, or even the store being robbed. Because what's happened, we've seen on Morris Park Avenue and in the community at the recent 49th Precinct Council meeting, the police have said that thieves are going through the roofs now to rob places, and they're robbing commercial establishments. So it's possible that this store will be robbed the same way. Any final words for our viewers, Ms. Raffi?
Please come join our Facebook page in the Indian Village Alliance, and continue to follow us. And this summer should be full of fun of stopping the project. Please visit our webpage for more updates.
Okay, so with those words, I am going to end it, and I will see you next week. And thank you for viewing, my loyal viewers.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555. Daylight Africa. Revolutionizing tourism industries in Africa.